Okay. Mark?
Josh, when you say the criticism of President Obama's response to Baton Rouge has been politically motivated, might the same be said of candidate Obama's criticism of President Bush in 2008 when he was critical of President Bush flying over New Orleans after cutting short his vacation?
Yeah, well, I think, Mark, you've presented a very apt illustration of a focus on optics over response. And I think that certainly that infamous photo underscored the risks with that kind of an approach. I think what's notable about Hurricane Katrina, Mark, is that there were Democrats and Republicans in Louisiana who were critical of the federal government's response in the immediate aftermath of the storm. And I think the failures of that response have been well documented. What's notable about this situation, what's different about this situation, is that in response to this flood, you've got Democrats and Republicans in Louisiana praising the federal response. And I think that's the most significant difference.
But President Bush was criticized by candidate Obama for flying over, for not being on the ground quicker in New Orleans, when he actually was on the ground within 5 days, which is faster than President Obama's response or visit.
Yeah. Well, again, I guess what I would say is I can't speak to the comments that then candidate Obama may have made in 2008. What President Obama has demonstrated as President of the United States is a commitment to focusing on results and focusing on the response and focusing on the competence and professionalism at FEMA. That has been his priority. And again, I recognize that there are some who are going to criticize the optics of the president making that the priority. The president's willing to assume that criticism as long as the federal response is up to par. And we've been pleased that thus far that's what's happened. But that doesn't happen by accident. That only happens because there are patriotic Americans serving at FEMA who are working around the clock to try and meet the needs of Americans in Baton Rouge who are facing the worst day or week of their lives. And it only happens because you have leading officials in the U.S. government, including the President of the United States, that have made clear that effective emergency management and emergency response is going to be a top priority. And that's why he installed an expert like Craig Fugate to run that agency. Look, Director Fugate deserves an enormous amount of credit for retooling that agency, for overhauling it, and strengthening the relationship between FEMA and state and local officials all across the country. And again, Mr. Fugate is not somebody who gets a lot of TV time other than in disasters. And the fact that he is somebody who is so closely associated with effective management and effective emergency response, I think is a testament to his prodigious skill.
It sounds like you're